day of listening.
Mike Karlsson.
Where were you born, town and country?
Sweden, in a little town outside of Jönköping called Lekeryd. I moved away from home when I was 15.
How old were you when you joined the military?
17. I moved out of country when I was 17.
Where did you first go out of the country?
To France, to Paris to sign up, and then basic training.
What was your first job after the military?
I was a writer. Wrote articles for various Swedish magazines. Picked up photography. I was in Lebanon and had gotten approval to do an article about Hezbollah in the Bekaa Valley, and couldn't find any photographer to go with me, so I took a crash course in photography, and since then it's always been more photography than writing. Well, I've lived, if you count more than a couple of months, probably in 10 to 15 countries. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, a lot of time in Africa in the military, and all over Europe, but that doesn't really, it sounds much fancier than it is. Since I got out of the military, I've been a photojournalist and writer and author.
When did you first move to the U.S.?
1998.
What brought you to the U.S.?
Ruth. Met a girl, fell in love, and here I am.
How did you meet Aunt Ruth?
We met in New York City for about a week or so, and about a month after that I moved here.
What about growing up in Sweden? What was that like?
It's very, very different than here. The emphasis in Sweden is much more about taking part in community, taking part in democracy, having a responsibility as being a citizen. I mean, voter turnout in Sweden is roughly 85% compared to whatever it is here.
I have no idea.
Much less.
When did you decide to join the military?
When I was 16, I decided I needed a change, and that was really the only somewhat well-paying job that I could get when I was still just 17. I, fudged my age when I signed up, but nobody cares. You're supposed to be 18.
Yeah. Why did you decide to leave home at 15?
It was just time to move out. I didn't really have much of a childhood. My mother was handicapped, and I being the oldest brother, it fell on me to take care of house and home, and I was just tired of it.
What made you decide to go into journalism?
Yeah, it would something that would allow me to keep on traveling, and something I could do wherever I kind of landed, so to speak, in the world.
What was the most interesting project you wrote or worked on?
Mid-1990s, I was one of the founding editors of a magazine called Expo in Sweden. A magazine doing investigative journalism, covering ultra-right-wing, Nazi and hate groups in all camps, and getting that off the ground, finding money, and doing the journalistic work with that was very interesting.
Tell me about your experience in the military.
I was in a rapid response unit. Most of what we did was in Africa and the Middle East. What you in English would call low-intensity conflicts, things like Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, Sudan, Somalia, Rwanda. We were also in Bosnia, Sarajevo. We were in the first Desert Storm or Desert Shield or whatever it was called. I rose pretty high up in the ranks pretty quickly. 'Cause apparently I was a born leader. So before I quit after about 5 years, I was how do you say in English? The not head of the regiment, but one step below, so XO.
So what a general, but it's right below the medical.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Lieutenant Colonel. What brought you to go to New York?
I think I was doing an article about the dog show in Madison Square Garden. I can't really remember, you know, 16 years ago. And, wherever I was writing, I took second place to meeting Ruth, and was kicking it off and moving here. For me, moving here was not a big step. It's having lived and worked all over the world.
Can you list out the countries that you've been in?
I can try. In the Middle East, we have Beirut, Syria, Israel, Palestine, Iran, Iraq, Egypt, North Africa, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Chad. Going down a little bit further, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Sudan, Somalia, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, South Africa, we're in Ghana. Yeah, we're in Ghana. In Europe, it's Sweden, Finland, Norway, Denmark, Belgium, the UK, Northern Ireland, Luxembourg, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, a lot of the former Eastern Bloc countries when they were still Eastern Bloc, like Poland, Hungary, Romania, Russia, US, obviously, Canada, Iceland, Germany, Austria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Cambodia, Singapore, Australia, Papua New Guinea, I don't know. I'm writing a book at the moment, and I made a list of all the countries, but I can't remember all of them now. Jag håller på att bli intervjuad av min brorsdotter Katrina.